Constitution is just the Declaration of Independence, which isn't really technically, I don't think, a governing document. Like, I think it's just kind of like that's something that was written.
It's just bars by George Washington.
Yeah, well, I think
you write it. I don't even know it's in it.
It was TJ, but I think that it was really just a declaration of war against the British Empire. And then it was like, okay, well, after we won, it's like, okay, well, now we got to figure some shit out. So we went to the Articles of Confederation, and then they fucking had a coup to overthrow that. And we got the Constitution. But the Declaration of Independence is fucking beautiful. And in that, they basically just say,
fuck you and your tea.
Well, kind of. I mean, yeah, basically. But what do they say?
Pant stockings and get the hell out of here.
You fucking queefs. Bunch of people in Boston. But they say that, look, we find it self-evident that man is endowed by his creators with inalienable rights. And if, by the way, I'm putting this into my own words now, but they go, and if government starts violating that shit, we say you're illegitimate. And we have a right to form our own government. And that is, I was saying this to Malice, I go, I think if you take that to its logical conclusion, it's basically anarchism. I mean, if a group of people can say that about one government, why can't an individual say that about the government he lives under? You know, but whatever, that aside, it's like there's no real argument logically. It's just like we're just declaring this. Like, we're declaring that this is self-evident. How is it self-evident? I don't know. Fuck you. That's how. Because we say so. So the point I'm making is that when America seceded from the British Empire, they didn't say, hey, listen, here's this document under British law, and this document says that what you're doing is illegitimate, and that's why we have the right to invoke Article 1, Clause 12, and you know what I'm saying? Like, they didn't say any of that. They were like, we're appealing to a bigger power. We're claiming something bigger than what you're even talking about here. We're saying that by what is morally just, men have rights. And you have no right to impose your will on us because we say so, because we say it's self-evident. And that's why. And so we're not a part of your thing anymore. I think there's something powerful about that. And I think that when I look at something like this with Bill de Blasio, I just go, that's what I think we need. I think we need a whole bunch of people who go, whatever authority you're operating on under, I appeal to a higher authority that says, no, you have no right to do this. And in fact, and I'll say this right now, I think Bill de Blasio, by anyone who has the force to do so, should be, yesterday, removed from office, arrested. He should face charges and a trial for crimes against humanity. He should be convicted and spend the rest of his life in prison. That is my honest opinion about what I think should happen to Bill de Blasio. You have no right to do this to other human beings. You have no right to tell businesses that they have to fire people who are unvaccinated. You have no right to tell 5-year-olds where they can and can't go on other people's property. Screw you. Because I say so. Because I say it's self-evident that you don't have the right to do that. That's the beginning and the end of my argument. It is self-evident that you do not have the right to do that because we are free people, and we're free people because I fucking say so. Man, I really I don't know what else to say about this. You just get to a certain point where it's like, look, we've been, what has this pandemic been going on for, or at least here in America? How long has it been since March of 2020? What are we, 21 months into this thing? Okay. Well, for 19 months, it's been obvious that there's no scientific justification for this. Okay. So the scientific justification has gone out the window long ago. This is all just fucking totalitarian executive fiat. So, okay, you want to say that, like, well, as the mayor, I'm saying that we decide this. Well, as a podcaster, I'm saying that we decide that it is self-evident that you're a fucking dictator and you should burn in hell. And you have no right to do any of this to anyone. What a fucking, like, oof. I mean, there's been a lot of mayors that I have not liked in New York City's history, but my God, that the fact that this guy is doing this on his way out, that he's saying, like, literally think about this, Rob, that he's saying that 5-year-olds can't go into a restaurant. So he's saying, right now, think about it this way, right? If you have two parents who are unvaccinated, and assuming their 5-year-old's unvaccinated, they already know they can't go into the restaurant, right? But now he's going further and saying, hey, you two parents who are vaccinated, but you weren't willing to vaccinate your 5-year-old, you can't bring him into the restaurant with you. Think about how fucked up that is. Now, I'm not saying it's the most important thing ever that you can bring your kid into a restaurant. You know, I mean, I guess it wasn't the most important thing ever that everyone could drink out of the same water fountain. But there's something about it that's pretty, like, I don't know, pretty appalling to tell. But he's even telling those people. It's really, in many ways, I think this is more of a message to the people who, like, you know, because I know you've come across this before, Rob, right? Like, you've seen, whether meeting people, you know, people you know in real life or just stuff you've seen on the internet or stuff like that. But there's a lot of people who, well, they took the vaccine like right away. They're not like me and you, like right away they fucking got vaccinated. Like, oh, and come look, understandably, they don't follow this shit as much as we do. They went, there's a pandemic, there's a cure. Okay, I'll take the cure, you know, because that's what they said. You take the vaccine, you get back to normal life, right? And then they take it and then they're like, oh no, actually, it turns out you can still get it and still give it and all this shit. But he's talking to those people because a lot of those people, they started getting a little bit bitter, didn't they? They started going, hey, what the fuck? You told me I get these shots and then I get my life back. And now I got the shots and I have nothing. It's the same as it was before. So he's talking to those people and saying, yeah, but you weren't willing to get your 5-year-old vaccinated. So I want to punish you now too. Oof. As I've said before on this show, I feel uncomfortable on our public channels saying exactly what I think should happen to Bill de Blasio.
I guess the only good news is that puts more people, people that might have thought I was crazy because I thought that the government was making bad policies. Maybe there'll be more of them now. Maybe all these people that this whole time thought that government had their best interests in mind will actually wake up to the situation. So I'm sure there's a lot of reasonable people that are not that got the vaccine, are not interested in these boosters, and are not interested in vaccinating their kids. And I bet your restaurants who are actually willing to be compliant really don't want to have to be busting parents' balls about whether or not they got their papers for their 5-year-olds. That's the real hassle. It's one thing with, like, in a bar when you're just dealing with adults to just, you know, but try dealing with one of those fucking, you know, middle upper class white ladies coming from the gym, all full of energy, had one coffee, now she's trying to get the Danish for their kids. You don't want to tell that lady that she can't bring her kid into a place. That's nasty lady energy. You don't want to start with that.
Yeah. All right, guys, let's take a moment and thank our